her?
Yeah, let's introduce her.
Okay, so Annie and I we just came off of the religion episode. Mm-hmm. If you haven't listened to that, I would suggest going back because
yes,
I mean I think it was really good. If I do so say myself.
We got a lot of nice feedback on that.
We did.
One.
It was very nice, and it was really fun for Annie and I to record. But we thought it would be a really interesting and great follow up to that, to invite our friend Jessica Funke on to the podcast. And we're going to get into her kind of why we thought she'd be so good on the show in a minute. But you know what? First, let's just welcome her on.
Yes.
Jess, welcome to the porch.
Thanks. Hi.
You're on the porch studio. Now,
yes.
You're probably wondering, who is this friend of yours? Well, maybe not. Everyone probably assumes she's like our mom friend.
Right.
Right. Because when we think of, she's actually our massage therapist. Mm-hmm. Yes. Annie and I do everything together, including
a massage therapist.
We share everything. But Jess did say to me today, I've never been in the same room as you and Annie at the same time.
With clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
You're usually both naked, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, she's seen things.
So we're going to start first. Should we ice break?
Yeah, let's ice break. First, though, wait, really quick, though. I was thinking, like, does the term massage therapist do you have feelings about that term? Do you like to be called that?
I like massage therapist. Okay. I hate masseuse.
Masseuse.
Okay. Is no.
Okay, masseuse is like the stewardess of massage therapists.
It's like,
and
the
flight attendant is correct.
Tennessee is really, really big on like, okay, no prostitution, everybody. No prostitution. So like that just has really negative connotations to it.
Yeah.
So when people are like, you're a masseuse, I'm like, I won't say anything, but I really hate you.
Is there another term for it? Like massage, or is massage therapist
it's just massage therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just so much more than that.
I know.
It's like you're not like, get your subscription to Massage Envy, massage therapist.
No,
you're like
she's like a doctor.
Like a physiologist.
Yes. Thank you. I like
But that would be what it's called, physio.
Yeah.
A physio.
Physio.
We're gonna be hyping Jess up the whole time because she's otherworldly at her craft. So.
Amazing. Yes.
I've been going to Jess for 6 years. That's a long time.
Wow.
I know.
That's a long time.
I started seeing, let's break the ice first and then we'll kind of backpedal. Okay, because we got some fun icebreakers. So the first one is incredibly narcissistic and self-serving, but Jess is not only a friend and a massage therapist of Annie and I, but she's also a devout listener of the podcast. Mm-hmm. So we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary of the Great Imposters podcast. We're curious, and we're going to put you on the spot a little bit. What has been your favorite episode?
Ooh, okay. It's now 2 because I loved the religion episode.
I loved it.
I loved that episode. I like the whole time. It was on election night. I was like distracting myself from all the results. I'm like, I'm not looking at anything. I'm going to listen to a podcast. And you guys were it.
That's right. We released it. Oh, yeah.
It was great. It was a wonderful distraction and also a wonderful conversation. So
we were worried about releasing that on election night because we're like, let's like distract a really tense topic with a potentially other tense topic. But I mean, we don't have tense conversations about it, but yeah, it wasn't like we're talking about like pop culture.
Yeah, and I feel like people, like you said, were trying to like dissociate and do other things.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of listeners that episode.
It was great. But no, the friendship episodes, the 3-part, that was amazing. I still tell myself all the time because you said it, Joelle. You were like,
I think Annie did actually. I know what you're gonna say.
No, really? What did you say? I told you at least. I don't know if I told Annie, but I told you. I was like, I walk around going, okay, I'm gonna be somebody's new best friend today. Like I walk around with that energy everywhere now. Like it's changed me.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
That's probably my favorite episode. I love it.
I loved that one too.
I definitely had that drunk energy at the wedding I was at this weekend. I was like, I'm gonna leave this wedding with everyone as my best friend, and then it was in the Midwest, so it was like, oh shit, like these people that now we're gonna be friends. Like legit. You guys meant it. Yeah. So the putting your friendship backpack on, it works,
It works. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you loved those.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Annie thought of the second icebreaker and it's so good, so I'm gonna let her say it.
Okay, so when you see Jess, she has phenomenal music. Because I don't know about like the listeners, but sometimes when you go to like a spa or you go to another, like a different massage therapist, they play kind of like the Zen music, like the meditation vibe, and then it's like all of a sudden you're relaxing and then it's like the like sitar and then the like but Jess plays piano versions of pop songs. No words.
Any songs, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Any songs.
Any song.
Like
country, classical,
all
anything.
of it. Yeah. It's a great playlist. And so because the way that Jess works is that she like is going to potentially like make you discover a new muscle you didn't know existed, and like you might even be screaming in pain at one point. It's a really great distraction when you're like, wait, I know this song. What are the lyrics? Yes. Anyway, we've talked a couple times and I've been in there about like the music that you love. And so I know you have some interest in some boy bands of the past. So if there was one boy band that could sit here with you right now and do a podcast, which one would it be?
Oh my gosh. This is the best question ever. I got really excited. I mean, 5 Seconds of Summer.
Okay.
5 Sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an OG. It's 5 Sauce. 5 Sauce. I am an OG. I discovered them.
They're a boy band?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are 4 boys in a band. Like,
yeah.
True.
She's like, kind of. There's exactly 4 boys in a band.
They're the exact definition. No, because I was a big One Directioner. I was a huge Directioner.
That's like such
R.I.P. R.I.P. Liam. But then like, but then on their tour, and they invited a little Australian band that was not known, and they were just on YouTube, and like Louis discovered them.
Oh.
And he was like, hey, come on tour with us. And he invited them. And then they went on their second tour with them because they were so good. And then that's when they got crazy popular. And I was like their fan from like day one.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my gosh, Ashton was my huge crush.
Aww.
But you know, it's fine. So yeah, I would be in a room with them.
Okay.
That's a great
And I didn't realize they're Australian.
Yeah, they're all 4. Well, and like one of them, I forgot. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. This is terrible. But he's from New Zealand. But they're all from that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
Are we answering this too?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
My daughter listens to one of my daughter's absolute favorite songs is Teeth by 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yes,
she loves
so
that
good.
song. Okay, I feel similarly to you where like I was a 98 Degrees fan like before they got popular because because my friend, I lived in Chicago for a little bit when I was in like kindergarten and first grade, and a friend of mine who lived there, her parents owned like the Raceway out in Joliet.
Okay.
And they played like a summer bash there, and we went and we got like cool like backstage passes or something. And so I don't think we met them. I think I would remember that, but we were like very close to them. And so I feel like I would probably want to meet with 98 Degrees and be like, yeah, like
they're probably available.
Nick Lachey
they're
in
definitely
his heyday,
available.
like come on, that was like, he was so cute.
Like,
Yes.
isn't he on a show now?
Yeah, he hosts Love Is Blind.
Yeah,
with
his wife, Vanessa Williams.
No,
what's her name?
Vanessa Lachey.
That's right.
Okay, well, I would definitely do my research before
Yeah.
I met with him. Okay, I didn't know that about Love Is Blind. People love Love Is Blind.
I'm one of the very few. We're the minority that haven't really seen Love Is Blind.
Okay, but it's like it's a phenomenon.
Yes, it's
everyone
phenomenon.
loves it, and I know I would love it if I watched it. I just don't watch reality TV shows
Okay,
very
got it.
often.
Okay, all right. Well, that made me feel better about 98 Degrees.
Okay. Mine is, I don't know if you know this about me, Annie. You might. I was like, it's like embarrassing to look back on my history with boy band obsessions because I feel like, so I started, I'm going to give you my stepping stones. I started BSB as we do at my age. I'm 36 for reference, almost 37. And that was like right after Hanson, because they were a little more instrumental, but
Hanson.
like they didn't like sing and dance. Like BSB, As Long As You Love Me, was like peak, like when I was like 4th or 5th grade, or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And then after that, NSYNC, and that like was the Lou Pearlman machine. Mm-hmm. And then came the loves of my life.
Oh,
you guessed it, O-Town.
O-Town.
I was, when I tell you,
so good.
Feral and Unwell.
About O-Town.
Yes. Like I think that O-Town just came, especially Ashley Angel. Like, I think it just came at the right. I was so boy crazy at that time because it was like, I was so innocent, but I was also like coming into realizing I have crushes, and like that you could not tell me that I wasn't going to marry him.
Got it.
My parents were like worried about me. Like, it was not cute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was nuts.
Liquid Dreams. That's them.
I know. And they weren't even that, of the boy bands, they were the least talented.
Were they, did they
But
rise
they are
through
so
Disney
iconic, though.
or something?
They were making the band.
Oh my God, they were making the band.
These are all Lou
Wow,
Pearlman
I'm-
machine.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right.
I'm really good. I just
But
went down a whole
Annie
tunnel.
Annie and I are seeing Justin Timberlake next month, so
Yeah.
I will always have a special place in my heart for NSYNC because
Yeah.
they probably were the best all around.
Yeah, for sure.
If like
As
for
far as
sure.
talent,
Objective,
yes,
But in
definitely.
terms of my
The
like
objective.
yeah,
The objective to be a heartthrob who sings well.
yes. But in terms of like my actual obsession, O-Town.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. That's a great answer, though.
I also have a random connection with O-Town. So there was like one rich person in my town growing up. And her dad was like, I think her dad owned all the hospitals or something that you shouldn't probably be rich from. You know, if you're like owning hospitals, you should probably like not take massive profits, but whatever. So then they had like multiple houses. I mean, looking back, it was Sylvania, Ohio, so these houses probably cost like $50,000, but still. But they did have a house. They had a house in like one of the ski resort towns in Colorado, and O-Town filmed a music video there.
Oh.
I'll have to find out which one it was for you. Oh my gosh. But they like left her like all this sign stuff, and she thought she was pretty cool.
I mean, I feel cool hearing the story.
You'd be riding high on that for a while.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for indulging us in those fun questions. Great answers. So let's just start out, like now we're officially in.
Yeah.
Let's give Jess an opportunity to introduce herself. So in your own words, let's hear your stats, Jess.
My stats: 32, single, ready to mingle.
Ooh, listeners!
I have 2 cats, so I am single. So, but they're my loves of my life. It's fine.
What are their names?
Frank and Beans.
Oh my God,
that's really cute.
Amazing.
I love
From
them.
The Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my sister named them, but I say it's from The Office because I claim
okay.
them now. So
Frank and Beans.
Yes.
Okay. Love that.
Yeah, I've lived in Nashville for almost 9 years. And I'm originally from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Speaking of small towns where there's like one billionaire.
Yeah.
Like there's a few other rich people now, but there's one major billionaire.
Idaho's like coming up.
Yeah, well, now it is for sure. But when I was growing up, there was like 30,000 people in it total.
Yeah.
It was teeny tiny, mostly farms.
I was going to say
mostly
white.
taters.
No. Mostly taters.
Mostly white, a little bit of Hispanic. Now there's like a lot more Hispanic and a lot more white. Yeah. But like that's it.
Okay.
That was it. That's pretty much it.
And it's like
southeastern Idaho is where I'm from.
Southeastern.
So that's what I call the cold, dry potato part of
Yeah.
Idaho, which is true. Like it's the high desert. It's up at it's the Snake River Valley. It goes into Utah.
Okay.
It's beautiful in its own right, but it's not somewhere you admire from the highway. It's like get into the mountains, and then you're like, oh, this is pretty. When you're by Boise or Coeur d'Alene or Nampa, you're like, wow, this place is beautiful.
Right.
But you don't think
that's like the new Tahoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't, and like Sun Valley's always been super, super nice, but my hometown is something special
Taters.
if you know where to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
If you're with a local.
All right, so we got 32 single ready to mingle from the farmland of Idaho.
Yes.
Anything else?
I've almost been a massage therapist for 11 years.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just realized that today. I was like, wow, that's been a long time. And yeah, that's all.
I love it. Well, let's kind of back up. So I'll tell you kind of my relationship with Jess, how that all started. When I was pregnant with Riley, this is like not a pregnancy podcast, but I will say if you're listening and you're pregnant or you've been through it, there's so many things that happen to your body that you're like, oh, no one warned me about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like constant. Like if you actually knew what was going to happen to your body during pregnancy, there would be no children on this earth.
Yeah.
So Riley, I had an easy pregnancy with her, but it was very painful because she was sitting. So I was getting I like went to a chiropractor right in my neighborhood, and she would adjust me. And then afterwards, she was like, would you like 15 minutes of therapy? I'm like, what do you mean? Like for my brain or? And she's like, no, like massage therapy. I'm like, for free? Like it's a part of this? I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, of course. And 5, 10, 15 minutes, somewhere in there. It was like a quick little, and this young 26-year-old girl walks in. I'm like, she's like this tiny blonde girl. And I'm like, ain't no way she's got like Olga arms, you know?
Yeah.
Really. And in like 5 minutes,
Olga
I'm like,
arms.
this is squarely the best massage I've ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was like, excuse me, miss, would you do this for longer? She's like, oh yeah, I'll give you my card. I do like 60, 90, 2 hours, whatever, on like in the back. And so then I stopped getting adjusted and I just started going to Jess, and she like literally, I seriously had the easiest birth, and like she got rid of all my pain. If you're pregnant, you need to get deep tissue massages, like, because you're allowed to. I know people say you're not. I think in the first trimester you're not or something.
Unless you're high risk, you can pretty much get one anytime.
But Jess like literally got me through my pregnancy with my daughter Riley, who's now 5, so it was 6 years ago. And then Jess, I won't take too much of your story, but long story short, she went out on her own eventually. I got my husband to go to her, so she's really like a member of my family now. And then Annie. So now Annie is now a client of Jess, and you know, we're all just like one big happy family. But the crazy thing to me that we'll get to is Jess is truly masterful at massage therapy. Like, I don't like a rub down. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
If you like a rub down, she ain't for you. We're not doing rub down. We're doing like kind of hurts so much.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, it's like
physical therapy.
It's physical therapy. Yeah. Like, Jess knows every muscle in your body.
Everything. Every tendon, every like fascia. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but she just knows and the way it works and referral pain. Like, I've learned so much from Jess about my own anatomy.
Yes.
And this was when she was like a 26-year-old girl. So I'm hyping her up a lot because I know that she has imposter syndrome because I know her so well. But that's how we came to be. And also, I think pertinent to the story, Jess is also Mormon. So she is I've known many Mormons in my life, like members of the LDS church, but I've never.
In sales, I think.
What's that? Through sales? Yes.
I think it's because we're both in sales.
Great sellers, yeah. But excellent. Jess is, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, like not what maybe you would think of when you think of just like your typical Salt Lake City, like picture perfect, everything's great Mormon.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and do you also feel like here, especially, people just are completely, like, Mormons are just an enigma in Nashville?
In the South, in particular.
In the South, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, a lot of people don't even know what LDS is.
Oh, no. There's still people who are like, you guys have horns, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that legitimately asked.
Okay.
Like,
they're like, oh, big love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Thanks, Hollywood fuckers.
So,
yeah. Oh, excuse me.
No. It's okay. She listens to our potty mouth.
Don't say fuck, Annie.
Anyway.
That's really rude.
Yeah. Well, my daughters today, actually, when we were getting ready for Jess to come over, were like, Mom, how come you say fuck and shit all the time on the podcast? And I was like, oh.
Shoot, sorry.
Sorry.
Because I'm a, you know what my new thing is? Like Riley asked me the other day why I get to have so many holes in my ears because she only gets one hole in each ear. And I said, because I'm an adult and being an adult is really hard. And you're a kid and being a kid is really easy. So I get to make choices like that.
Ooh, I like that too.
Okay. Wow. Look at you, mommy.
I'm sure some like really woke person's going to be like, being a kid is not easy. Do not say that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
like, well, maybe for their kid, but your kid is great.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's all to kind of set up Jess and her kind of talent and her entire like how much there is to talk about given that introduction. So with that said, Jess, what are you great at?
Yeah, we told you what we think you're great at. What do you think you're great at?
Thank you. First of all, it's really funny that you said Olga arms because I have my whole life been like, my shoulders are called Olga and Helga.
Yes.
Like my German shoulders.
Yes, your German shoulders.
Yeah, I call them my German Olga and Helga shoulders.
You would never think that the beast of a massage therapist comes out of this.
Don't underestimate massage therapists, guys. I actually asked because, again, I have imposter syndrome. So I was like, oh, I'm not great at anything else but massage. That's it. And then I call my mom and I call my sister-in-law and I call one of my best friends. And all of them said this really sweet thing that was like, oh, that's nice. They were like, you are great at listening to people.
I was going to say that.
They all said the same thing.
They all said the same thing. And I'm like, oh, thank you guys. And my best friend also too, she was like, honestly.
Wait, your best friend's name is Elsa?
Right, I wish. Wow. Oh my gosh, that'd be even better. Oh. No, Emily, but close.
Right? Oh, I thought you said Elsa. I was like, wow. What's it like to be an Elsa in the modern age? It must be weird. Go on.
Weird, right? After Frozen, you're famous. No, but I basically was like, I don't know how to answer this question because I feel weird answering this about myself because I don't have the confidence to say, oh, well, I'm amazing.
It's so hard.
It is so hard. But she went in further where she's like, you're good at listening to people, but she's like, you've always been somebody who can move through emotions with somebody. You can move somebody from disastrous to better just either by listening. And a long time ago, this has stuck with me forever and ever and ever. I heard the expression like, listen to understand, don't hear to respond.
I love that.
And so that's just that's my mantra, honestly. Yeah. It's like, listen to understand what they're saying. You don't have to relate. You don't have to have a response. Typically, you don't need a response because all they need to do is get something off their chest. So it's just always come very naturally to me to be like, yeah, I'll listen to what you need to talk about.
Wow.
I'm an interrupter as well. So that's something I have to work on. But like people I feel like have always come to me for something to listen to.
I would agree. I mean, it's so funny because today, so funny enough, Annie and I both go monthly to Jess. So we see her literally every few weeks. And we have a 90-minute chat. Like,
Yeah.
truly, because we all chat during our massages.
I fell asleep today. But
did you?
Yeah.
Lucky.
I know.
But Annie and I both went today, which is funny. Not planned with the date of the podcast. It just worked out that way. But this
just
morning,
the 6th hour with us.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
I was excited about it though. It's great.
Oh, but I said to her earlier, I said, I don't remember if I've told you this before, and then I told her something about my grandmother who passed away 10 years ago. And she's like, oh yeah. And then she regurgitated a fact that I'm forgetting what it was, but like that I don't remember that I told you, like, station. And Jess is an excellent listener.
She is. And we have like deep chats on the table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah.
And I came to you, I remember when Hans was like dying and I was like, I didn't want to see anyone. And then I came to you and it was like, I thought I was just going to like sleep and recluse into myself. But we chatted the whole time just about like dogs and grief and all that stuff. So kudos. Your people know you well because you are a great listener. Oh,
it's true.
It's true.
Did you always want to be a massage therapist, or did little Jess want to be something else?
Little Jessica wanted to be either a surgeon, which that's a funny story, but I wanted to either be a surgeon or a therapist. Like I thought,
you kind of are.
I thought those two things were like the cream of the crop. I was like, that is going to give me the best life. I'm going to make a lot of money. I also wanted to make money, so it was like, oh, I should be a surgeon. But the funny story about that was my best friend's mom had a boob job, and I was just fascinated by it. I was like, what? I was like, wait, they did something to your body, but just your boobs, and now you look great.
Yeah.
So that was like for a while, but like in surgery
hilarious.
in general, like I can watch any type of surgery video and be like, this is so cool. Yeah.
Really? You are like an anatomy nerd.
I love.
Because I've been in sales my whole career, and so many people, when you're in sales, naturally ask you, "Did you ever go into med device?" Like, I couldn't step foot in a hospital and see what those people are seeing every day.
Yeah.
No.
Like, kudos to medical sales device people, because you have like, not only are you
Dan the man. Kudos to you. Yeah.
Kudos Dan the man. Not only are you really good at sales, but you also have a strong stomach.
Yeah.
To see, you're like in the OR all the time.
Yeah.
With these people. I could never.
And like explaining how like precision lasers like slice open testicles and shit. Yeah. Yeah, not for me. But quick segue, diving right into the Mormon church. Although Jess and I did talk today, so the Mormons are kind of trying to rebrand to be more just LDS.
Yeah, like, so the name of the church is Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay. And that's a mouthful for some people.
Even for an acronym, that's too many letters.
Yeah, it's a lot. But so like so the reason why we're called Mormon is because we have the Book of Mormon, which is just a secondary book to the Bible. You know, it kind of goes along with the Bible. But we were nicknamed that like back in the 1800s. They're like the Mormons because we have the Book of Mormon. So we just kind of were like, all right, you call us Mormons. We're Mormons. Like, so it was a way to be like, it used to be looked at as a way of, people know that name. And so they'll know the church. So it was almost like a missionary tool.
Okay.
And then, like, for whatever reason, within the last few years, I guess for a lot longer than that, but I've only been aware of it the last few years where people are like, they're not Christian. They're not Christian. They don't believe.
And that's not just down here. That's all over.
That's everywhere. Okay, yeah. They're like, so they are like, well, they believe in the Book of Mormon. They don't believe in the Bible. They're not Christian. So
you were like, listen.
So our prophet a few years ago was like, guys.
So prophet is like the Pope?
Is like our Pope.
The head honcho?
He's our head honcho. And he's like, all right, guys, like, we need to represent Christ.
Okay.
And the name Mormon doesn't denote Christ to people who don't know about our church.
It's like calling Jewish people like the Torahs.
Pretty much.
It's the Torahs.
The Torahs.
Or like
the matzah balls.
Yeah, the Old Testament.
The matzah balls have come.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
That's amazing.
Because I feel like all the prophets of the Mormon churches have been excellent businessmen too. So he recognized probably like, this is a business problem.
I mean, he was a heart surgeon. So he was also a very successful man. But yes, like he was like, hey guys, we're Christian and we need to show the world that Christ is in our church. And when we say Mormon, that could mean literally anything. Yeah. So now it's like, okay, if you want to shorten the name, Latter-day Saint is great, or LDS is great too. Okay. I'm not too picky. And granted, I grew up saying Mormon, so I'm not going to get offended by Mormon. However, it's like encouraged to say, okay, actually the name of my church is actually not the Mormon church.
Okay.
I feel like anytime I've asked someone kind of confirming, like, oh, are you LDS? Like, it's like almost softens someone.
It does.
Like, because I have like one of my coworkers is, and I'm like, oh, you're LDS, I didn't realize. And I think that just like it creates like a little understanding of like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I get what this is, and like I'm not.
Well,
like,
it's also it's respectful. Like, so like you get like reality TV shows, and they all call themselves Mormons,
right?
And you're like, so clearly you're not a very active member of the church, because we don't go by Mormon, especially to public people that don't know anything about us,
right?
So like, us hearing somebody say in a respectful way, oh, you go by this name, let me call you a respectful name that you actually go by. Yeah. It's great. It's like, oh, thank you. Yeah,
interesting. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say go, because I have like a whole different
so topic. I was gonna ask, when you said growing up you wanted to be a therapist. Okay, so that was my question, because I feel like different religions have different approaches to therapy and mental health. So are the Mormons, do they believe in therapy outside of like church counseling?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it really, truly, like we're a church that's really big on agency. Okay. So you can, granted, there's lots of resources within the church. There's tons. However, like I don't see an LDS counselor right now. Okay. Like I saw whoever I wanted to see, and so and I think we're like the rest of the world, where it's just become a lot less taboo, where it used to just be really taboo, or like you just didn't talk about therapy. Yeah. But it was only frowned upon because of a whole society, not because we were in the church. But got it. I mean, half of people that are higher ups in my church are all doctors. Right. So they're like, hey, medicine, hey, therapy, good. Like, do what you need to do to take care of yourself.
I love that, because that's another thing that I've noticed about the South, is that a lot of people say they're in therapy, but they're really going to a religious counselor. Yeah. Which is very different. Yeah. And then if you break it down another level, it's like, well, that's what we're encouraged to do. And it's like, okay. So that's good to hear. And even the Catholics for a while were like, what's wrong with your mental health? Just go to confession. You'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah. And it was like,
get some Hail Marys. You're good to go.
I lied in confession.
I would do that too. By the way, that with the religious episode, I was like, I would totally lie in front of people too. Holy moly. There's no way I would have been like, definitely not.
Yeah. I think one of the things, and we can cut this if you're not comfortable, I think you'll be fine with it, but one of the things that might surprise people, just based, maybe if people don't know a lot of members of the LDS church, is the stereotype is you get married super young, you have 1 million kids. Like that's like, yeah, that's
that's fair.
There's credence to it, right? Like
that's fair.
That's how a lot of members of the LDS community do live their life. Now you are 32, and as you introduced yourself earlier, single, ready to mingle. Yeah. How does that give you any sort of imposter syndrome? Like that, just being like, does that make you feel outcasted? Does that make you feel different? Like how do you feel about that?
It both makes me feel, yes, it does give me imposter syndrome. It does, because at the same on one hand, you know, I was raised where like everybody got married really young. All of my friends are married. All of my best friends, except for one, are all married and at least have 2-3 kids at least. But 2 of my friends definitely have 4, and that's a lot of kids right now. Yeah, especially in this economy. And so like that's
why you were so unfazed by my
I'm
cluster.
Super unfazed. Well, and I come from a big family, and so it's very unfazing. So it does, within my own family and my friends circle, it does give me a bit of like, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? I'm not living in the mold, and that is a little hard. It's both rewarding, because at the same time, I have my own personal relationship, I feel like, with God and with like how my life should go. And so it's both like, you got this, you're on your own timing, you don't live anyone else's life, it's okay. And at the same time, all of the people that I look up to, all of the people who are very important in my life, all did what they were supposed to, quote unquote, do, which was got married, and have kids. And like that's just, it's very not looked down upon to be single, but it's like, oh well, you should get married. You should get married.
Do you feel judgment from anyone in your church on that?
Personally, no, but I know a lot of people that do.
Okay.
And I think it's mostly a personal perception. I think it's an insecurity that people maybe project upon other people's opinions. Right. But no, everybody who knows me within the church that's really close to me, they all say, take your time. It's your own life.
That's good.
Don't worry about it.
That's nice that there's support there.
Yeah.
And so are people constantly trying to like throw like blind dates at you and stuff?
They used to.
They used to.
They used to. I feel like I've now gotten to the point where I have maybe gone on every blind date there possibly is.
Got it. Okay.
There's just nothing left.
She's ready for the double blind.
The double blind. We have to repeat.
Yeah.
Well, we do have, I mean, we talked about how fantastic and eligible Jess is. For anyone listening, like, would you marry someone who was not Mormon?
That marrying somebody that was not Mormon would be hard for me.
I'm sure.
I'll go on a date with anybody. It's a date. It doesn't matter. And I have dated plenty of non-Mormons or non-LDS people, but like, marrying would be difficult only because my ultimate goal is to get married in the temple, and you do have to be a member of the church to get married in the temple.
Got it.
Okay. And that's like the temple in Salt Lake City?
There's temples everywhere.
Sorry, that was a dumb question.
Oh,
I'm thinking of that like regal ass one.
The Salt Lake City, the one that was built like in the 1800s. Yeah, it was the first one.
Explain to the listeners who might not know the difference between the temple and the churches.
So the churches are just every you can use them for whatever use. They're multi-use. You go to church on Sunday. That's where you go to church. You go, like, there's the one in Green Hills. I go to the one in Green Hills. That's where you meet and go to like your congregation. You also can do activities during the week. It's a multi-use thing. It's like, okay, everybody meet at the church and we're going to do this activity. It's very casual.
It's like a community center.
Yeah, it's like a community center. Exactly. Okay, it's cool. Like, yeah, and we're not like the big churches out here where they also have schools attached. We're just a church.
Right.
Okay.
And then the temple is very specific. The temple, like most temples that are really big, especially out west, they all have visitor centers, or out east, they have visitor centers where if you have a question about what's going on inside, you can go in the visitor center, anyone, and they would answer whatever question you want. Okay. But to go through the temple, like to do the things that the temple is made for, you have to be a member of the church.
Got it.
So you have to be baptized and then go through. Yeah.
And didn't you tell me once, and I hope I'm remembering this right, because I'll sometimes ask Jess about like the quote unquote Mormon mommy blogger, like community, like everyone you see scrolling Instagram with like perfect like balayage highlights, hair down to their butt, 17 gorgeous kids, like all and like live in like a 70,000 square foot house. Like, I don't know how it all works that they all have that, but you know who I'm talking about. And a lot of times it's like they don't seem to. I know a lot of the Mormon or the LDS traditions, like I understand what they are, and they don't seem to follow that. And you have explained to me they probably aren't allowed in the temple. Or they're not a member of the temple, right?
They probably like, and that's again, that's kind of a judgment that I'm passing on somebody because I don't know. But like, so when you go through the temple, everyone's heard of the Mormon underwear, which I always laugh. I'm like, why are we talking about people's underwear? But like, you've heard of that. You have to wear that once you've going through the temple. Basically means like you have made promises for specific things throughout your life that you're going to uphold.
Your garments, right?
Yeah, and your garments are the outer like reminder of that.
Yep.
So that's when you wear those, you can't wear like a tank top. Like you're not supposed to show them. They're kind of hidden because again, you're not just showing off your underwear, but also like that's now part of your like covenant. That's part of your promise that you've made. So it's just a reminder to yourself. So people who are wearing super short little mini skirts and like stuff like that, it's like, well, you clearly can't wear your garments with that.
Right.
Now, again, that person could just be like, hey, they might just be in their pictures on Instagram. They just don't wear their garments. They might wear them outside of that. They might go to the temple later. But usually that's like what I've noticed is a pattern of like somebody is really devout and then all of a sudden they get a little famous. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, but then this like one line wants to sponsor me, but they're not garment appropriate. So I'm just going to stop wearing them. And then usually that ends up them like being pretty inactive and not really fully participating in everything about the church that they used to. And that usually means like, okay, they probably don't go to the temple very much anymore. But again, that's being judgy because who knows?
Yeah, because who knows what like the story is there?
Yeah,
fascinating.
Yeah,
there used to be like a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a stereotype, but like there used to be like folklore that once you were in the Mormon church, you could not leave, and kind of what you just described of like maybe distancing yourself was like very frowned upon. Was that always like just made up in Hollywood?
No, because you could. I mean, if you want to leave, you leave. You know what I mean?
They're not like stay.
Like, I'm sure some people have definitely felt that. Okay. Because again, like if my whole family or on my mom's side are all LDS. So if I were just to go up to them and be like, I'm leaving. Yeah. Which a lot of my cousins have. Like my sister and my brother, like they don't really attend church anymore either, but they just stopped going.
Okay.
Like there's no like, oh no, go get them back, come back here. But like there is a little bit of concern because granted it's also cultural. It's like if I were to tell my mom, hey, I'm not going to church anymore. I don't have faith in this church anymore. I'm going somewhere else or I'm not going anywhere. Right. My mom would be like, oh no, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Are you
that
okay?
would hurt. Sure. Yeah.
But like nobody can force me to go. It's a choice. It's a choice to go.
Okay. So that was Mormon folklore.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
we're squashing it.
And I'm sure like
rumors.
My family, we're not I'm not like I don't fit the typical mold of a typical LDS person because like my family was never the extremists. There are, and as you guys talked about too, there's always an extremist. There's always something in any religion. And so like I know family members of somebody else, or I know something of like a bad story that was like, they wouldn't let me leave. It's like, that's not true. No one can. If your bishop, who was like our priest, heard that somebody was forcing you to do something, he would hopefully intervene and go, nah, if they want to leave, they leave. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing. But some people have had bad experiences like everyone else. So
yeah. And like every religion, and yes, like you said, it's a spectrum, and there's like your Orthodox Jewish people to your, what'd you call them? High holidays.
Your high holidays Jews.
Your high holidays Jews.
Yeah, you liked that, huh?
I loved it. Yeah, you need to like send that to the.
When I don't think I made it up, but
I
appreciate you thinking I did.
Wait, so if there's a pope in Catholicism, a prophet in LDS.
Don't ask me.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you think?
Well,
is there like a head rabbi?
Is there a head rabbi?
I don't think so.
Like rabbi with like always has a capital R.
They all always have a capital R.
They wear a very specific.
His name is Rabbi Adam Brody.
Rabbi
oh my
Adam
gosh.
Brody.
Okay, I will join Judaism if that is your red rabbi.
Yes, Jess said that she's converting to Judaism if she has a shot with Rabbi.
If you
Adam
find
Brody.
me a hot rabbi, there will be a lot of going back and forth of like, should I join? I don't know.
That was so funny. Well, we don't mean to turn this into a like a Q&A on LDS, but I do think it's important for anyone listening because you've taught Annie and I so much about, I think, a lot of the maybe misconceptions, and I think you're also such a good like representative of like a really healthy relationship with a religion that's had some heat, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that you're able to like kind of represent that, because like I love that you've taught me so much, and that like you are literally and you're progressive, you're not judgmental, like you don't really, you have none of the traits that like maybe the comic book version of the comic strip of LDS would have. And you're not like that at all, so I just wanted to make sure that was represented, because I think you're a really good representative of that.
Thank you.
And I also think a lot of like the listening too, to give yourself a lot of credit, like you've been through a lot as a young person, like you lost your dad kind of young, and I like, among other things, I don't know, I won't spill for you if you don't want to talk about, but I think your faith shows up a lot in your ability to listen and to walk people through things, and like, but you don't bring God into those conversations. Like I just think that's how you're grounded.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I would agree.
Sweet.
I know. Well, I do think too, there's like this assumption that if you sat next to someone who is LDS on a plane, they're like gonna ask you about your faith, and it's like, that's not fair, because that's not how it is.
No.
Yeah,
you've never tried
Hollywood's been a little cruel, I
mean, hey, they're cruel. They're real cruel to Catholics, man. Like,
they are. Yeah,
and the media in general is mean to Jews. So
Gingers. Yeah,
but that is to say, like, we are a church that does do fellowship. So like, I personally, like, again, my mom, she went on a mission.
Okay.
It's more expected of young men, but women go all the time.
So I didn't realize that. I thought it was just men for some reason.
Well, but it used to be a lot more prevalent.
It's a cast of all men.
Yeah. Well, but it used to be a lot more prevalent. Like when in the 70s, like every young man went, but like, and it was a lot less frequent for young women to go. But now,
you see them, because you can spot them on their
in the same way, their white shirts.
Yeah, you see them on their bikes with their white shirts. I've never seen a girl.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, they live in Green Hills. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had people come to I've had just boys come to the door, and I am always so kind.
I love that.
Let me
Thank
tell you, because
that's so nice.
I worked with at Microsoft. I worked with two guys that were Mormon whom I absolutely loved, and I just remember like hearing about their missions and just having such empathy for like needing to, like, that's the hardest form of sales you can possibly do.
Yeah.
And then little quick aside. So one of my sweet coworker friends invited us over for dinner one night, and my husband Andre's never been like a huge drinker of alcohol, If anything, I'd probably peer pressure him to drink alcohol more than anything. And so we like get over there for dinner, and it was like the most amazing meal. There was like dessert, which I never cooked dessert. And it was just like so fun. And I think we played like a board game, and Andre got to drink Diet Dr. Pepper the whole meal. And when we left, he was like, I'm in. If they come to the door, he was like, if they come to the door this week, I'm in.
I'm in.
Sign me up.
Done.
Yeah. He was like, who needs wine with dinner when you can have DDP? And I was like, that's not a bad, that's not a bad sale.
DDP is a Stephen Hirsch staple.
I didn't know that. Because
it's
people,
my dad's signature soda.
Well, Diet Coke gets so much flack, but the people that are addicted to DDP are just as addicted to DDP as the Diet Cokers.
It's like a full-blown cult. Like it's like you don't touch anything else. But I'm a Diet Pepsi person. What? Did you not know this about me?
No.
I am constantly drinking a Diet Pepsi.
Where do you even find it? Do they sell it in stores?
Yes, it's in the stores. We're in Diet Coke land out here. It's so hard. And I feel like because so many more people have moved in from like California out West Coast, more of my Diet Pepsi is not in the stores, and I'm upset about it. I'll walk into Publix and be like, where are my Pepsis?
Oh my gosh.
And they're gone. And it's like, but I'm a purist. I'm like, don't give me a regular Pepsi or a flavored, give me a Diet Pepsi.
A Diet
And then if there is no Diet Pepsi, I will take a Diet Coke.
Do you drink it like all day?
All day. All day long.
Wow.
I'm a caffeine connoisseur. I love it. I'm like, I don't drink coffee, but I drink soda all day long.
So you would argue then that Coke and Pepsi taste different? Yes.
100%. They all smell different. Cool. Dr. Pepper smells different. Diet Dr. Pepper smells different.
Do you think you could do one of those blind taste tests like on
100%.
TikTok and you could know like
I
this
could
is
know.
like fountain Coke, this is like
Oh, I would know. I can do the smell test too.
Have you noticed that like the movie theaters still have a contract with Pepsi?
Oh
which
yeah.
is always
That's why I go to Green Hills.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, Diet Pepsi. I love it.
Yeah, it must be like AMC
funny.
or someone. Because sometimes I'll go to a movie and be like, I'd love a Diet Coke. And then they'll be like, we have Diet Pepsi. And I'll be like,
Regal has Diet Pepsi.
Is it
Oh,
Regal?
I know all the companies.
Ironclad partnership. Huh?
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, they will have my
Pepsi
lifelong
Wow.
membership.
Wait, can I do one more myth debunking?
Yeah.
Is it true that one of the prophets worked for Coke? Is that a myth?
Well, that wouldn't be weird though. Why would I mean? No, I don't know.
I
don't know which prophet worked for Coke, but like,
okay, there was like always a myth.
That wouldn't be a wrong thing to do,
right? But there was always a myth that there was no caffeine, and then one of the prophets worked for Coke, and then it was
okay. I see what you're saying.
I didn't set that up well.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. No, okay. It's like
we got it.
Is there a myth that one of them?
What was like? Are you talking about cocaine? Because that would be bad.
Yeah. that might be.
That one might be a little bit more controversial.
Have you heard this myth out in society?
No, I know what you're talking about. Yes, where people are like, you don't drink any caffeine, and there are some Mormons for like when I was growing up. Like I dated a guy when I went to his family's house, and his little sister looked at me and goes, "Oh, we're LDS. We don't drink soda." But that's like pure their family, like their parents.
Because that doesn't make sense. Because when I lived out in Arizona, all in like Mesa and Gilbert, all the soda shops.
It's huge. And
you know about this culture west?
Out west, especially Utah. It's in the Mormon bubble. Where the Mormon bubble is like Idaho, Utah, Arizona, a little bit of like California, like little spots. Okay. But it's like where it's very prevalent that there are a lot of LDS people. Okay. So it's the Mormon bubble.
Got it.
And then, so, it's very mainstream out there. And so they all have soda shops. So it's like flavored sodas. So instead of a coffee with creamer, it's like a soda with creamer. Have you not had this?
No.
You should try it. It's good. It's
amazing.
Really good.
I'm not into soda plus dairy, but I could see why someone is.
Well, like flavor anything.
As a kid,
so
like root beer floats.
You should try. You should try a dirty Diet Coke or a dirty Dr. Pepper, which is just like a coconut flavor with lime and Dr. Pepper.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they're like
no, it's a legit.
Like, Maddie, if you're listening, I know you'd like that.
It's like Starbucks, but it's soda shop.
But for soda.
Wow.
And so like that is just funny because certain people for a long time, and I think it was almost like in the 90s or like early 2000s, there was like a fad of like, no one should drink caffeine because we don't take anything addictive. We don't do anything addictive.
Got it.
And that might be what you're referring to. And that, of course, has just like gone through it. But I mean, my family, we have always drank soda.
Okay.
Like we have never not. I drink Diet Pepsi because my grandpa, my dad, my uncle, everyone drank Diet Pepsi.
Okay.
So.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Dang.
Maddie, sister wife, Maddie would put in when it's like hot in the summer and she's like stressed out from my children, she'll put like a lime and a Diet Coke and she'll be like, this is the Lord's drink.
Add a little coconut creamer.
So I feel like she would really
literally add a little coconut creamer, Maddie.
So
it's a dirty Dr. Pepper, dirty Diet Coke. It's amazing. It's so good.
Sorry, are we good?
We are.
Okay.
Hold on. All right, we're good.
We're good. Okay, so let's go back to imposter syndrome because I'm still like really fascinated about how it shows up in wherever it shows up for you.
Yeah.
Do you have like a defining moment where like you feel like you conquered imposter syndrome at some point, or where you confronted it, where you're like, oh, this is something I need to like actually address with myself?
Yeah. Very distinctly, it was after my dad died. Wow. And it was like, I had this moment after he died. I came back home from the funeral. I was sitting in my apartment, and I was just kind of sitting and just processing everything that had just happened over the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I just had, and I know it had to have been my dad on some level of saying, you are getting in your own way. You are not living your life. Oh. You are living your life for other people. You are not living it. You need to decide, you know what you want to do. You need to not complain about not doing it and just go do it. Oh. And so that was a moment of like, oh, I haven't felt like I deserved better things for myself because I was trying to fit into a mold of something else. Mm-hmm. And now so it was almost like an unleashing of like, okay, I can go. At that point, I had already applied to the state of Tennessee for my license twice. And they used to just be so disorganized that like my process of application expired twice because they took so long. Ugh. And so I was just like, done. I'm done. And so then you're
talking about, just to be clear, your license for massage.
For massage.
Not driving.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds like
she can drive.
That would be a
sounds
whole nother problem.
Elon's new department will fix that.
Yeah.
Go on.
But I came home and I was just like, I need to stop getting in my own way. And it was a very, very distinct moment. And from that very day, ever since I decided to decide that I deserve good things and I deserve to have a life that I actually want and not a life that I feel like pleases other people, immediately my life was better. Wow. Like I feel like I started living my life truly and fully at 26 years old.
Wow. And that's when I met you.
I know.
That's
great.
So beautiful.
That really is. That's like, there's so much to take from that too. Like, I mean, just however it came to you. Yeah. Like just to get out of your own way, like truly. I think the more you realize about, I hate that morbid things are usually the thing.
I know.
To put things into perspective, but it really, it's just like life is such a flash in the pan, and it's like you just have to dig deep and do it.
You do.
You really can't, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
No.
To be so hard on yourself, and I feel like I've been like really up and down lately. Like Annie and I have a really big episode coming up at the end in a few weeks, I think, where we're going to recap this last year because we're coming up on a year. Yeah. And so I've been thinking a lot about the last year because we're going to be talking about it. And like, I go up and down a lot, but it's like, sometimes I just want to like slap myself in the face, you know, and just like, what the fuck are you like upset about?
Well, I just think you don't give yourself enough credit for everything that you do. Like you don't realize how much you do. How much you have done.
I think especially with you both being moms and like working and like how busy you are, you get so caught up in your day to day that you don't realize all the good you're doing.
Yes, and just how much you're doing above and beyond your real job or your mom job. Like you do so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
Don't sell yourself short.
Wow,
please.
Thank you. I needed that. I was
I
just feel like
because you're a fucking hustler.
Yeah.
So you're always like,
Joelle,
but it's a double-edged sword for you where it's like you're always hustling and it like gets you to go amazing places, but then you're always like, I'm not hustling.
But that is a normal for you to be hustling. So I'm sure like so that you wouldn't see the cool challenges that you're overcoming within it.
Like I think it's always this point when my cleaning lady comes every single Thursday. And it's always this point where by Friday morning, my house is a mess again.
Oh, yeah.
And like awful. A lot of and I just feel, I'm like, what am I doing wrong here?
Nothing.
That's not you making your house a mess. That's your kids having fun.
On the things that are important in life.
Oh my God, this turned into like my therapy session.
No, well,
but it's so needed.
But I agree though. I agree though.
Yeah. And I just like, I knew you needed to hear that you're doing so much.
Oh my God.
Don't worry if
but you both are. Like you both are always like I feel like also too, it gets so muddled up in the daily life that you're like, oh, I'm not actually making a difference. I'm not doing anything good. When all day long you've been doing something for something else, for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like you're so used to it that you don't realize it.
And you know what you need to do is you need to have someone who's not your family because your parents just like inherently love your kids so much they would do it no matter what. You need to have somebody who's not your family watch your kids for a weekend and then get home and see the exhaustion on their face. Yeah. And
like what you just did with Maddie.
Yes. And hear them say like, I don't know how you guys do this.
Yeah.
Or hear them say like, I'm never going to complain about being tired. And then you'll be reminded like, oh yeah, it's really hard. Yeah. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And
especially
even when
if you don't have family around.
Yes. Like we don't.
A lifeline.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I need my mom to come over to just like, so I can go run and do something. Like we don't have that.
No, it's like it's a logistical nightmare every day. And when my dad left, he was like, parenting wasn't, I mean, he traveled a lot, but like, he was like, parenting just wasn't like this. We just didn't do all these things all the time. And it was true. Right. Like and it's not our fault. I think that's societally what we have to do. So we just don't realize how much it is.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Now this is a terrible segue, but I want to get to this really quick. I feel like our listeners are really hoping that I ask this. Let's talk about the imposter syndrome of people being naked.
Oh my God. What a good question.
So, yes. Tell me. Okay.
So I guess it's like a classic Annie, really incoherent question of like, okay. I guess for the first question is, can you just feel people's imposter syndrome on the table?
100%.
Okay. Can you feel them like, oh, she's going towards my thigh. Ooh, my thighs. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, yeah. Cool. So chill at anything you're naked at, any kind of medical. It's fine.
I'm also like, I would rather you be naked so I can work your muscles, and I don't care if there's fat.
Right.
It's like I'm talking to my mom. She's like, Mom, I don't care that you have cellulite. I don't care. I don't care about it.
Right.
I want to get into your thigh because I know the muscles I'm looking towards to working out. And in my mind, in no way or shape or form am I ever looking at your body going, she's a little fat. Like, right. I'm never thinking that. I'm always thinking like, okay, now there are some times when there is somebody who is maybe like a really overweight, and I almost have to kind of envision, like I find their bony landmarks, like their spine. And it's like, okay, there's your bony landmark. There's your shoulder blade. Okay, now I'm envisioning where all your muscles are actually sitting, because granted, you're like, if you were heavily overweight, like it just kind of pulls you in different directions.
Right.
So that's the only time, but it's very
clinical.
It's very scientific. It's like, okay, your hip bone is here, so your oblique and everything is over here. Okay, go to this direction. I am never, ever caring about if you're fat.
And like, you've probably seen every type of body ever, and not to mention she works in a very affluent area, so she's probably seen some nice ass bodies, you know. But it's just so interesting. It's like, it's the phenomenon, I think we talked about this in one of our body image episodes. It's like, it's kind of like if you go to, I expressed this after I got back from Bonnaroo this year. Okay, so Bonnaroo is a music festival in Tennessee, and music festivals are, I would say, an experience with gen pop, the general population. Okay, we forget that everybody's really hot in Nashville, and then you leave Nashville, and then you're like, oh, this is what normal people look like. We are in the country.
We are Manchester, Tennessee.
And nobody wears a lot of clothes at Bonnaroo. So when I got back from Bonnaroo, I was like, I need to stop having such imposter syndrome about my body. Yeah. Like, you forget that's what bodies look like.
It's also like going on a cruise or an like, all-inclusive resort.
Yes, or like a if you go to one of those like bathhouse, probably has a negative connotation, but you know how they're getting in vogue now? Yeah. There's like those bathhouses everywhere. Like, I've heard so many people say like, I left one of those and was like, why am I so self-conscious? So you can be that beacon of light for everyone of like, you're all doing great.
Everyone's fine.
Everybody's bodies are different, and they're all beautiful. Yeah.
It really is. It's just a body. Yeah. Honestly, you just be kind of like, you are, I do care about the person on the table, but you truly just become a body.
Yeah.
And my mind is just focused on like, where are the problems that I'm finding? Okay, let's just focus on those problems. Great.
Wow.
Problems being knots, not you're fat. Like,
yeah.
This is really funny. So, Andre, Annie's husband, just joined the very elite list of clients in Jess's roster. But Chad and I have both been going for a long time, and we try to like, poor Jess, like we try to pit her kind of like in the middle, because we're like, who's more tense? Like we like have, because I think I'm more tense and Chad thinks he's more tense. I'm like, Jess, like who's worse this week? Because we like to like have a who's got it worse.
Who is it? Who has it worse?
It depends on the week.
Oh, really?
It depends on the week.
Well, because I was telling Joelle how you were like, you and your husband have the same tensions.
Yeah, and a lot of married people do.
Wow.
Like a lot, like Joelle and Chad, like you guys both have like, your shoulders are similar in the way that you both compress down. Where I was telling you how like different tension feels different.
Yeah.
Like different shoulder pain is different tension.
Yeah.
And you and Andre have very similar hunching. And Shad and Joelle have very similar like compression.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's
well,
cute.
and like I have an excuse because I've got like a fucking quadruples F cup weighing me forward.
Yes.
But like Andre better stop hunching. I'm gonna follow
hey,
him
it's his
now.
sympathy pain. He's just like, oh, she's always hunching.
He is.
She's
He's gonna
hunching
be like,
too.
oh, this must be what it feels like to have boobs.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening and wants to give me like a free reduction or something, hit me up. I wouldn't take it free. That's a bad idea.
I'm gonna say no, not a free. I don't know. It depends.
I would need to see your credentials.
You say check it. It has to be a real doctor, but you can do it
I'll
for
check
free.
your license, and then we're good. We good. But yes, I love doing that. I love being like, who's worse today?
Yeah.
Who this week was worse?
I have another client who him and his wife are like, how deep did she go on you? Did she have to go like super deep on you today?
Oh,
like,
did she give you cups?
They compare. They're like, so like, did you like cry a little bit? Like they like are like, oh wait, hold on, who's tougher?
I've never gotten cups. Do you get cups?
I haven't in a while.
Not in a while. Annie, I can't cup you yet.
I'm like the tensest.
You're too guarded still.
Oh my God.
I feel like it would just hurt and pinch you for a minute. We need to calm your central nervous system down.
When I get manicures, because I'm back on the bandwagon, I stopped for a while and then I got back on it and I can't stop.
I know.
Once you get that.
Look how good mine are.
Those are beautiful.
I got them yesterday.
Cute.
But I finally found like a guy that I consistently go to, and but I don't think he wants me to consistently go to him because he just spends the whole time being like, relax your arm, give me. He's just like, give me your hand.
And are you just like?
I'm just like, okay. No, I'll literally be like, okay, I'm relaxing, and he's like, that's not relaxing. I'm just like, I think that I'm doing it. How do these people do it? So I need to take like a muscle relaxer before my next.
No. I just need to like. But pretty much what I do though is like when I tell you, I'm trying to make your brain aware of it. Like I need to make your brain aware that you're actually tensing because you don't normally know.
Yeah.
Normally like, I'm tensing. I have
Isn't
no
that
idea.
crazy?
So like that's usually like, okay, let me make your brain aware of what you're actually doing and make your body aware so that when next time you tense, you actually go, oh, I just tensed instead of just, oh, this is how I am every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I followed the bride around this weekend, be like, roll your shoulders back. Put your shoulders down.
Look at you.
Put your shoulders down. Her shoulders were at her ears, you know?
Yep. She was stressing out.
I could talk to you all night, girl.
Should we
Let's get to one of our final fun questions, which I know you're gonna have like a deep and insightful answer for. Joelle and I are looking at old school paper today because I don't even know why. IT was complicated before this one, you know? I got back yesterday. Okay, anyway. If you had like no boundaries in your life, so money wasn't a boundary, nothing was in your way, what would you be doing?
Ooh. I would definitely I would go to the Maldives and buy one of those huts as my house.
Really?
I would be in the Maldives and I would have a hut by myself and I would have a slide.
Okay.
And I would
and that's what you do all the time.
I would live there and then I would also have a lake house somewhere with a beautiful, maybe I don't know, like
New
an
Zealand.
Idaho lake or somewhere, like
so,
really pretty.
So retirement.
I would retire and
Yeah.
then I would have two homes, one big, very awesome vacation home, but also a very nice home. I would have homes.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Multiple homes,
and I would be able to relax all day long and just swim in the ocean.
Would you want to be alone a lot at those homes, or would you want like company at those homes?
I would want company. I want a group. I'd want a group.
Okay,
want
so
entourage.
you'd fly some folks out to Maldives
on my private jet. If money wasn't a question,
Got
I would
it.
also have a private jet, and then I would also just have a group of people with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. Would you still be a massage therapist, or would you not be working?
Yes, I would be a massage therapist.
Okay.
I don't think I could ever not work.
Okay.
I could never not work.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you have a lot of money, you still need like drive in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
for
if
sure.
you're not, I hate this because it's such a like cheesy sales quote, but like if you're not growing, you're like dying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, if you're not
ABS, always be selling.
Yes. No, but ABC, always be closing.
Always be closing. Right.
Oh my God, I have this like traumatic memory of really long time ago. Someone was like, someone sent out an email, it's like before Slack and Teams was even a thing. It was like, there's bagels in the break room or something, and like the head of the sales department wrote, bagels are only for closers. Whenever I think about the word closing,
I can't eat.
I know. Whenever I hear the word closing, that's
amazing.
the memory I think of. I haven't thought about that in so long.
Bagels are only for closers.
Isn't that psychotic?
I just wrote, I don't remember which Substack that it was, but I was writing about how like there's that certain energy of like right now in corporate America of like the middle-aged man who like just watched Glenn Ross again over the weekend, which is that like sales movie where they're like, and they're like back into the like always be closing mentality.
Yeah,
and like
fuck
get
off.
on the phone, and then it's just like no one wants to be called anymore.
No, take a
I
nap.
do have one more thing though that I
Okay.
want
Oh, please,
to do.
sorry.
Please, yeah.
My dream though,
Yeah.
like if I had all the money in the world,
Okay.
I just want to go. I want to do this so bad. I want to go to a hospital
Okay.
and like find like the biggest bill, like a child cancer hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go to the biggest bill, like $1 million bill, and just pay it.
Oh,
Like not.
so
I want to do
beautiful.
it so bad. I don't know why that excites me, but it does. So I'm like, okay, I want the Maldives home, but I also want to know that I did good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I want to also
Yeah.
have fulfillment.
It's called balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's balance. I want to be bougie and
That's
also be a
really
good
cool.
person.
That's what Taylor Swift does. She
I
like
know.
secretly.
She just secretly pays off people's
She'll like
bills.
just have her people call the
I
hospital
know.
and be
I
like,
want to be Taylor
Yeah.
Swift is what I want to be.
Yeah.
Don't
I
we
want to be
all?
rich like Taylor Swift, and I also want to be as generous as Taylor Swift. So.
right. And I love that she's not like, it's like she doesn't have to have like foundations in her name or something.
She
It's
just
like
writes checks.
she just writes checks.
See,
But,
I
like,
would,
yes.
I have zero desire to ever be famous or viral, ever,
Right.
ever. But I would want to still be able to help people.
Yeah.
And be like, here, let me anonymous donation.
Yeah.
Here you go.
You know what's interesting about Taylor too is like she has ego in certain parts of her life, but not in her generosity.
No.
Which
No.
is amazing,
You know what I
especially
mean?
since she's
Yeah.
a billionaire. That's like
Literally,
pretty
like,
amazing.
That is amazing. Like you're right. She does so much of that like anonymous, like under the
Well,
under
'cause
the
I-
radar stuff.
Yes, I went on like a big rabbit hole about it because when everybody was saying like she's not philanthropic, I think when she endorsed Biden or something, I don't remember, but that people were like hating on her, and I was just like, no.
No.
She has done
Not
too much
today.
good in the
She
world.
is philanthropic. She just doesn't need like everything to say, you know, the Swift Foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah, which
She
is
has like no ego when it
true
comes to it.
philanthropy. Yes.
Yeah.
Like sorry, let me tangent. You know, I gotta
fine.
get him in. Like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, who got
I know,
half
who
his
was just like,
fortune and
here,
gives
here's
I
my
love
money.
her.
Me
Oh my
too.
God,
Wasn't
she's
that
so awesome.
Wasn't that just
Amazing.
like it restored humanity for me when I was like, oh my gosh, she's just like, here, who wants my money?
Yes.
Who wants it? Let me give it away.
Yes.
I'm like,
Crazy.
oh,
And then I remember in Seattle, like, because we lived there during Jeff's formative years, during like, but pretty much like,
early Amazon days.
yeah, like early Amazon to, or I would say like mid-early to, you know, whatever. And he, like, all he did was like, he had like an education program in like Seattle public schools, and it was like a couple free books. I swear to God, like that was it.
Wow.
And then his thing was like, well, why would I give? He said this at some point in an interview. He was like, why would I give now when later I can just give more? And then it was like that. If that's your mindset, you don't get it.
No, just
And it's
give.
like, just give. Yes. I think about that a lot.
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah.
that it said that.
Dang. What do you want to leave our listeners with? Any advice on just anything? Like, I just feel like you're such an old soul, and you're really wise, and you work through your imposter syndrome, and you believe in yourself, but you're also very human. Like, with everything you said today, is there any like last words you can leave our listeners with?
I definitely feel like I don't want to say stop getting in your own way, because it's really hard to say that to somebody who's currently getting in their own way.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, if you life should be enjoyed, and life should be and you should be doing what you love, and like when you do what you love, you're able to give more of yourself, and you're like more fulfillment. So I feel like it's just remember to be happy, like be happy, and when you're happy, you're able to give more of yourself somewhere else, and you're able to have more of a motivation to help other people, and or just like be a good human. So I feel like it's dumb to say be happy, but it's also like remember that life is meant to be enjoyed.
Yes.
So if you are currently struggling, try to work towards that goal of getting to a good place where you can maybe help someone out of their struggle that you've been through, that you understand. So I would say, I don't know, just try to that's
Find
I don't know
joy.
how to
I love
I guess
that.
find joy. I'm trying to
Find
like
it where
wrap
you
it all up
can.
in a sentence, but
Focus
like
on finding it.
Yeah, focus on finding your own joy so you can spread it.
Yes.
Aw, I
yes.
love that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes. And I think in order to do that, let me know if you agree. I feel like you have to release yourself from a lot of the guilt and shame that comes with maybe pursuing joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whether it's eating a croissant, I'll use that as personal, or, you know, doing a different career or whatever it might be. But eat the croissant and be like, cool, I ate a croissant because it made me feel good.
And guess what?
Now I
French
have more
people do it all the
myself to
time,
give.
and they're happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Honestly,
That's
croissants
beautiful.
will just make you happy. I think that's the real takeaway here.
yeah,
Yeah.
that really is.
Right.
I turned around a
let's
real bad
all-
morning this morning with my kids by
Let's
being
all
like,
eat a chocolate croissant every day.
I was like, I brought them home a croissant from an amazing Columbus bakery, and everything turned around, and they were all happy. So
I know, find joy.
Cure everything.
The French know things.
They do.
They do.
Jess, thank you for coming. This was really fun.
Thanks for having me.
This was great. I hope everyone took something away. I certainly did.
Yes.
And we loved having you here. And, you know, our bodies love you too.
Yes, they do. Thanks for letting me do a little Mythbusters on LDS. I think it's very fascinating.
Happy
and
to.
My last piece I'll say is that everyone who is a member of LDS is the nicest, most generous person you'll ever meet.
True.
I can say that about 5 people, one of them sitting here. And so it bothers me that there's all these myths. So I want to help you myth bust.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Look at us.
I'm evangelizing.
You are philanthropic.
Just like a Jew, a Catholic, and a LDS
I'm just
member.
everything.
Like
we are the joke walking into the bar, you guys.
We are the joke walking into the bar.
We literally are.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, well, let's wrap this up. This has been Joelle.
This has been Annie.
This has been Jessica.
That's you. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.